we'll be getting for Batman vs. Superman. I figured we could start with Batman vs. Superman because that's the thing that's like most fresh. I mean, we did watch Arrow and Flash last night, but Batman and Superman kind of like the most.
We can get that one done relatively quick.
Yeah. But it's the thing that's like most fresh in my mind right now is Batman vs. Superman. Just because obviously I hope people have seen the trailer if you're fans of superhero movies. I mean, if you're a fan of Jimmy Kimmel, you probably saw it when it aired on Jimmy Kimmel. If you're not a fan, but you want to stick around and listen to us talk about Batman versus Superman, then that's, awesome. I said that really fast. I was like, Batman, Batman versus Superman. So we got a lot more footage compared to what we've gotten with the last trailer, where this showed a lot more of Batman versus Superman, like actually fighting, but then it showed a lot more of like them outside of Batman versus Superman. Bruce Wayne, Clark Kent. It showed more of them playing their secret identity roles and whatnot, which I thought was neat because I wanted to see more of that because I want to make sure that, I really hope Ben Affleck is a good Bruce Wayne, but also a really good Batman. And from what I've seen in that trailer, it looks like he's going to be an excellent for both.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Christian Bale did okay, but I think he was more one-sided.
Yeah, I enjoyed his Bruce Wayne. I didn't really enjoy his Batman.
Well, because I don't know. People can feel free to disagree with me, but I felt like the growly voice, while I see what they were going for and it probably would have fit, it just didn't work well for him.
Yeah,
and it became hard to take him seriously.
I like the approach that they're taking with Batfleck, where it's like a voice changer and not like him like using a really deep voice, I'm sick right now, so I couldn't mimic it perfectly, but I enjoy that they're going down that route instead of doing it to where he's trying to force his own deep voice thing.
If you ask me, it makes a lot of sense because Bruce Wayne, billionaire, Wayne Technologies, all that, he would have that technology.
Yeah.
Why would he do the growly voice? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, which is, I don't know. I'm excited. I also thought that I can't think of the actor's name at the moment. The actor that's playing Superman, it really looked like he's filling into his role as Superman. Man of Steel was kind of he was kind of but that was his first. You weren't expecting him to be a really good Superman, but it was decent enough to where I enjoyed the movie and I want to see more of him as Superman. And I think that's the perfect goal to have is for more people to want to see him as Superman.
I mean, I did too. I didn't quite enjoy Man of Steel as much as everyone else did. Don't get me wrong. I still thought it was really good. It just wasn't on. I think DC is still working on getting up there in the film portion.
I think if you look at it like Marvel did, it's the same route that Marvel took, where their first movies were kind of but then over time they got really good.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think that Man of Steel was good, not amazing, but I think they're going to continue to improve, and it'll just get better from there.
It's a good kickstart for what they plan on doing with Justice League and all the other heroes that they plan on making movies for.
Yeah, and we've seen with the TV shows they've made that they're capable of doing some great things.
Yeah,
it's just they need to work on bringing it into the big screen, if you will.
For both of that, I enjoyed it. Wonder Woman's appearance at the end kind of threw me off because I really hope they kind of do more to explain as to why she's there and she doesn't just show up oh hey, I've been watching you guys
Well, I'm sure I'm gonna have faith in them at this point because they haven't given me a reason not to trust that they'll do it well. So, and that makes me really excited because I really, really like Wonder Woman. She's one of my favorites. So
yeah, there have been a few leaked scripts, but I've actually stayed away from reading that because I don't want a whole lot spoiled for me if it's true.
Yeah, you want to go in blind, right?
Yeah. The only unfortunate thing is that in the trailer we get a glimpse of what's probably going to be the end of the movie, and that is some sort of abomination, which could be Doomsday. There's a chance that it might not be Doomsday.
I mean, it's true, but anyone who's seen Doomsday before knows that looks pretty Doomsday.
Yeah. Well, there's a villain on Earth Prime. This is like back a long time ago in the comics that was very identical to Doomsday, but it was like that's pretty much it was what I said, like an abomination. That's what it was, where it could siphon off like heroes' powers and use them against them. So that's how he got like the whole shooting lasers out of his face thing, because he like took that power from Superman.
That's true, and that would make a lot of sense as to why he would team up with Batman, since Batman doesn't technically have powers.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping they go down that road. Although he's not a very well-known villain, so I feel like that, to be a moneymaker, they'd probably just want to go down the route of finding a villain that everyone knows, and Doomsday is one.
Well, yeah, and to me, anyway, other than, of course, like, Lex Luthor, Doomsday is one of the, I'll call him like Superman busting villains, because we can all agree that Superman is in a league of his own. He's one of the best heroes, with regard to fighting power, I suppose. And it would make sense to use Doomsday because it would be one of the few villains that Superman would definitely need to get help with.
Yeah. And while it does seem like it would be more of like he could use the help in this, like say, Batman vs Superman. If they wouldn't have called it Batman vs Superman and maybe just had the whole Batman fighting Superman thing as like the beginning of the film and then turn it into like a team up to where like it led into Justice League, maybe that would have been made a little bit more sense. But then at that point, it should have just been a sequel to Man of Steel, where it just happens to have Batman in it, and that's the setup for Justice League. I hope that a majority of them. I mean, I would prefer to have the entire movie be them two fighting against each other, and then like I guess Doomsday shows up at the very end, and in order to fix whatever the problem is, that's how they start the Justice League. They get like they get the Flash, Green Lantern, whoever else. Because I think the actor who's playing Cyborg is also going to be in the movie, because they go to Star Labs and they meet him. They don't meet Barry Allen, unfortunately, because I don't know if like at this time he's the Flash yet. They haven't really explained that, so I don't know, like, timeline-wise, if he'll be... I mean, I assume he'll be the Flash, since, like, this is supposed to be, like, an older Batman after Jason Todd, like, dies, because that's what everyone is assuming with, like, the Robin suits in his... in the trailers that they've seen. They're assuming that Robin's dead, and that's Jason Todd. Like, Jason Todd's the only Robin to die. So, I'm assuming, like, timeline-wise... the Green Lantern, the Flash, all of them, like they're there, but they're not going to be in the movie just yet. I know Aquaman is also in the movie, but I don't know how much of a part he's going to have. I don't know if it's just going to be like a scene or two where he just kind of shows up and then like goes away, and then they'll be like, oh, whatever, he helped fight Doomsday, so let's get him for the Justice League.
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on the Aquaman front, just because, I mean, of the pictures we've seen, I think he could do a good job, but like the suit kind of I'm a sucker for the classic, like the orange and green Aquaman, but he was very just like monochromatic and silver in the pictures, and that could just be an instance in the movie. They could bring it out, but at this point I'm very skeptical.
Well, I mean, as we've seen with like Batman's suit, like it's not like super bright blue and red. It's like it's got like a darker tone. It's supposed to be like a grittier.
Did you mean Superman?
Is that what I said?
You said Batman.
I meant Superman. Sorry, guys. I meant
unless I'm deaf.
Maybe I thought I said Superman. Either way, it's not like a bright red and blue. It's like a darker, like grittier. So that's why I think like that's the approach they're going with that. Because that's the same with like Wonder Woman. Like the images that they've shown with her costume, it's like a darker blue, darker red and stuff.
But like I still would argue that yes, they are darker, but they're still reminiscent. Like the colors are still there. They're just muted versions of those colors. Whereas with Aquaman, the colors are just not there. But like we said before, we don't know where the timeline is at, and so it could be before he gets that kind of suit. Or they could just not have that suit at all. We'll see.
I guess we'll find out. The other issue, aside from them kind of just spoiling Doomsday showing up, if it is spoiler, like I mean. We don't know if it's Doomsday, so it could not be Doomsday. But I'm just going to go on a limb and say that it is probably Doomsday. So I'm going to just keep calling him Doomsday until until it's changed. Otherwise,
it's easier than saying that thing that appeared in the trailer.
So aside from that spoiler, I didn't really think that I can't remember the actor's name, was going to be a good Lex Luthor, and that trailer,
Jesse Eisenberg.
I after that trailer, he just seemed wacky, and I don't recall Lex Luthor ever being wacky.
He always, like, at least the ones I've seen, he's always struck me as more of like a stoic kind of.
Yeah, so I don't know. He was cracking jokes when he was with Batman, or not Batman, but when he was with Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, like he was like cracking jokes and whatnot. I don't know if it's just like that's just a persona that he's trying to put on, but it's just
to me. In my head, I was kind of like, I imagined them in pre-production when they're still writing this. It's like, so yeah, it's Batman versus Superman, but who should we use as the villain? Lex Luthor or Joker? And then somebody at the table just goes, why not both?
Yeah.
And so they like made him into this weird hybrid of like insane Lex Luthor. But
I hope that like something, I don't know, like goes wrong where I think Luthor is like behind Doomsday. I feel like Doomsday isn't going to be some sort of like alien. He's going to be like a creation of some sort, because in the trailer we saw Lex Luthor have the body of Zod. So I feel like he's going to try and take some like Kryptonian DNA and try to make his own Kryptonian, and then that's how Doomsday is going to come into play.
And it's like the what was that I was discussing with you? How it could be based on us not knowing where the timeline is at. He could not be the Lex Luthor we know.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to, is like something goes wrong and then he goes bald. I really want to see him as like a bald Lex Luthor. You can't have Lex Luthor with hair.
Well,
I feel like
we know it's at least supposed to appear because they've leaked pictures of Jesse Eisenberg in the bald cap.
That is true, they did.
And he looked very serious and angry in those pictures, so
I mean, I guess we'll find out. We've got till March to find out.
It could have been just like a ploy to mess with the fans or appease them. Or,
yeah.
We'll never know till we go see the movie.
Yeah, which, you know, I'm still excited for it. Like, my hype kind of died down a little bit when they showed Doomsday, because I was a little upset that they did that. Because I feel like Doomsday would be a good villain for, like, the second Man of Steel, or even the third Man of Steel. Like, that's, I don't know, like, because now it's like, who do you do for Justice League? Obviously, you got Darkseid, you could do him. But then after that, it's like, who do you do for the rest? Like, there's, you know, I would assume you would start with Doomsday and then move over to, like, Darkseid. And then after that, I guess you would find
a Monitor, I guess?
Yeah, like, you could just throw in the Monitor and be like, well.
Or Anti-Monitor, I mean.
Third Justice League movie is Crisis on Infinite Earths. I would die if that was like.
That seems almost kind of scary to me, because, I mean, even in the cartoony comic book panel drawings, he is scary.
He is terrifying.
I can't imagine how they would render him with CGI.
Yeah, I don't know. I would love to see a movie or even a TV version of Anti-Monitor being on screen, and like Crisis on Infinite Earths being like a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to say I picture him as a big screen villain. I don't see how they would make him work in TV, but yeah. I have been wrong before, and people have made